Hello, students of geography. Uh, Hopefully you miss me already, which some of you are saying. I'm glad that guy with glasses and no hair is gone for a week. Uh, I'm not gonna lie. By the time you guys are in class today, this is more than likely my view of the world, and I'm not even going to apologize for that. Uh, Unfortunately for you guys, or fortunately, you still have to learn about Africa here. So on Thursday and Friday, we learned about the overall African economies, and we said it's not as bleak as most people think. Um, when you have been as terrible as they have been, your growth is going to be rapid, which is happening right now. Eventually, it'll probably tail off, but right now it is at a rapid rate. And as we discussed, people are starting to invest in Africa because they think that is where uh, money is to be made in the next 10, 20, 30, 40 years, kind of like China was the last 30 or 40. So we're still looking at factors that affect economic growth. Today we're going to focus on foreign assistance or foreign aid. And this lesson will either make you very angry at the United States government or a little more on the happy side. So, anyways, I'm going to give you a quick rundown and then you're going to be able to work here while I sit on the beach. I'm sorry. I'm sorry for rubbing it in. So it says directions. You will be exploring foreign assistance. After you have finished exploring, you will be trying to convince the United States government that your country, your African country, deserves foreign assistance or cash money. Uh, why? Some countries need more help than others. Many of the countries in sub-Saharan Africa need money from other countries for various reasons. This activity will give you an idea on the financial needs of most of these countries. To give you an idea here, I know it's a few years ago, but it's still very relevant. You can see the foreign aid that the United States has ponied up, and you can see Israel. We talked about Israel, how much money we give Israel back in our Middle East unit. But if you look here, if you take out, Iraq and Afghanistan, where we fought conflicts. If you look at the next ones below that, Egypt, Jordan, Egypt, Kenya, Nigeria, Ethiopia, Tanzania. Those are all nations in our region. Um, and you may look at this and say, $3 billion, Mr. Pope, $600 million seems like a lot of money. I would not disagree. If somebody gave me that money, I'd say, see ya. Okay? But what is really remarkable about all that money is that all foreign aid is about 1% of our budget. Now, it's interesting we bring that up because me and my father this summer got into an interesting debate about foreign aid. Uh, and I told him, hey, Dad, it's like 1%. And he shot back with, well, we could do a lot with that 1% at home. And honestly, I had no comeback for that. He is 100% correct. What I then tried to tell him was all the reasons we use that money. It was actually a pretty good debate. But anyways, here I'll leave that there for you. You can look at kind of what we spend our money on. Um, we spend a lot on defense. We outspend the next 20 nations below us. Um, so if you're ever asking, are we safe? Yeah, we're pretty safe for the time being. Um, so um, watch this video here. It's great. It talks about foreign aid and what it does. Um, why do we give Africa so much money? Well, there's kind of three reasons here. I pulled from this part right here, this little infographic. National security to combat counterterrorism. Obviously, we're constantly fighting terrorism around the world. Yes, there is terrorism, terrorist cells in Africa. So part of that money to those countries is to help them stop terrorism before it gets to our doorstep. Humanitarian, poverty, education, all those things, AIDS epidemics, um, just trying to make the world a better place, I guess you can say. Um, And then commercial interests, just investing in corporations and people. Like I said, a lot of smart people, much smarter than me, think the next generation of great money making will occur in Africa. And the idea, we talked about outsourcing at the start of the year, and a lot of the times when companies outsource, they'll send to like Mexico or other countries where education levels are high. Well, Africa's not there yet, but a lot of people think Africa could be that next spot where jobs that can be done by, educated people for cheap costs could be shipped to Africa. Pros and cons. Pros, well, help develop nations. If we're giving a nation $500 million a year, that kind of makes them almost loyal to us in the long run. Now they could always say, "To heck with that, we don't care, United States," but there's more of a chance. Helps with poverty, healthcare, education, kind of back to the humanitarian, just kind of being a good nation, kind of like we all strive to be good people, kind of promote those things as a nation. Cons, well, if you as a nation year after year get hundreds of millions of dollars, you kind of come dependent on it, and you're like, you know what, we really don't need to worry about fixing our problems because there are countries that are going to give us money year after year. We kind of enable those countries. And last but not least, ideas may be pushed on a nation receiving aid. Our belief system may be pushed on one culture, and culture might be deteriorated or ruined altogether. So there are reasons for why we do this. There are pros and cons, like me and my father discussed this summer. So take a look at this infographic too. It's kind of interesting. Talks about the countries and on average how much money a person would get. Not that they get it, but if you divided it out. So what you're gonna do here, and you're gonna work by yourself, because I'm very confident each and every one of you, is you are going to pick an African nation. I'll have a list available, and once you have picked your nation, you will come and you will tell Mrs. Salvold, hey, this is the nation I want. We're not gonna double up with those nations because there's so many. So what's going to happen here is you're going to pretend like you're in charge of this African nation, okay? And you are going to try to convince me, the United States, that you deserve foreign aid. And not just because, oh, I want money. You're going to have to justify why, all right? And I have included some amazing resources for you, okay? This first one, this foreign assistance, they have pimped out this website, aka they have updated it, and it is amazing. If you go explore map here, it'll bring up a map of the whole world, and it shows you, it's kind of interesting actually, shows you all the places that get money. And it's funny because like even China's $6.8 million. It's like, why? I don't know why. It's a great question, but anyways, that includes Africa. And if you click, for example, let's say you had Angola, it'll tell you we plan on giving Angola about $50 million this year, okay? So if you click on Angola, all right, it tells you what the categories are for. Peace and security is a little bit of it, about if you even hover over 5.1 million, okay? If I can go back here. And then health is this huge one here. About $45 million of it is going toward health. And if you click on it, God, I love this site. It tells you about 17 million is to fight AIDS, HIV/AIDS. About 24 million for malaria, which is devastating as well. About 4 million to basically health education. You would not be surprised. Some of the misconceptions in some of these African nations when it comes to reproduction. Yeah, I said it, reproduction. Okay, so that's one thing you can use. This can give you, like, if I was doing Angola, I'd be like, okay, so they have some serious health problems. Okay, but that shouldn't be the end of your kind of trying to convince me. All right, I want some hard numbers because right now they just says, okay, they have an AIDS problem and malaria. but like what facts back that up, okay? So what else you're gonna use here is a CIA World Fact Book. It makes you seem big time because it's got CIA attached to it. And if you notice here, it's got every nation. If I click on Angola here, it will literally tell me anything I want to know about Angola. It is crazy insane. And so if you scroll down here, it'll tell you, it has a whole bunch of things, like it'll tell you like government and stuff. But if you click on, and bear with me here, people and society, it tells you all this crazy different things, the breakdowns. But if you keep scrolling down, it'll tell you like the birth rate, how many per thousand people, the death rate. And if you keep scrolling down, you come to things like infant mortality rate. And basically what that means is per 1,000 babies born, and I think it's within of like 2 months, how many of them die? And obviously you want a low number. Um, and sometimes they tell you the rank. This one doesn't, but let me tell you, 78 for 1,000 is crazy insane. Oh, here we go. The eighth worst in the world infant mortality rate. If you're curious, you can go back and click on the United States. It's kind of interesting to look. Another thing to take a look at, life expectancy. Ours is right around 73, 74. I'm probably wrong. But Angola's here is 55. So if you scroll down, you can look at these things, and you guys know if those stats are good or not. Just by comparing them to the United States, you can figure it out. And then like HIV/AIDS, which we haven't got to, but Angola has the 25th worst um, cases, I guess, when it comes to it. So you can use the CIA fact book to back up what you found on the Foreign Assistance website. So you can actually look up the HIV/AIDS stats and say, well, 10% of our people have HIV/AIDS. That's why we need money, or malaria, or whatever it may be, or if it's security concerns, if you have terrorism problems. Um, some of those things you might have to use the interweb for, but these two sites, oh man, so much good stuff. And so what you're going to do is I would write some of these things down to start with on a piece of paper. But basically, you're going to start a Google Doc, and you can name it like Foreign Assistance. And for example, I just showed you Angola. You can do Angola. Um, share it with me here. Um, and basically, in a nice laid out paragraph or whatever format, but it should be nice here. I want you to tell me why your country deserves the money it's going to get. Okay? So if you go to your country and it says, $50 million, well, explain to me. And just don't say, well, it says health concerns. I'm done. No, you're not done. Okay? Explain to me why you need that money. Yeah, they're telling you they have an AIDS problem, but I want facts. Okay, we live in a world of facts. There's a lot of people in society that forget facts exist sometimes. Okay, I'm telling you they exist. Prove why. If there is time on Tuesday, when Mr. Staub should be there, you guys are going to present these kind of to the class and explain it. Okay? So it's important that you do a good job. You write down this stuff. You justify why, for example, Angola needs $45 million. And if your country only is getting, even a few million, which most of them don't, if you're looking at these, it's crazy large. That's fine, okay? Because you can still use CIA Fact Book. So you're going to get the rest of the time today to work on that. This won't take you if you're done in 5 minutes, something is wrong, okay? This should take you some time. Dig deep, because like I said, tomorrow you're going to explain to the class why your country deserves that money, okay? So I've given you everything you need here. Like I said, some things you might need the interweb, but I have pretty much given it to you all there. All right? So good luck, and I'll be thinking about you guys on the beach. Have a good one.